Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how you can identify the kinds of people, groups, organisations who might have an interest in your work so that you can then form relationships with them and then work hand in hand with them to deliver the kind of outcomes from your work that you would like to see. I think that we're quite good nowadays at thinking about who might benefit from our work, and some kind of beneficiary analysis is something that people very often do nowadays at the beginning of a project, and funders very often ask for this as well. But what about the people who might not benefit, who actually might be disadvantaged by the work? And what about those other people who don't really benefit or get disadvantaged, but who have the power within their hands to enable you to succeed, or who can actually block you? If we know who those people are as well at the outset of our work, then we can form relationships with them and try and find ways of at least ameliorating some of the most negative impacts of our work, and then working with people who might previously have blocked us to overcome their objections and adapt our work so that we can then work more effectively with them. This is basically a process called stakeholder analysis. Now, a lot of people don't like the word stakeholder, so in case you're having an allergic reaction to this, it is very simply anyone who is affected by your work or can affect the success of your work. There are a number of steps that you need to go through if you want to effectively analyse who has an interest in your work so you can get them on side. And the key to this is really being as systematic as you can possibly be. The process that I'm going to walk you through takes in total about 2 days of your time. Depends on the size of the project, obviously, and this is actually work that will probably be spread out over a number of weeks. The first thing that you need to do is to identify a few cross-cutting stakeholders who you might be able to bring into an initial workshop to brainstorm ideas about who might be the kinds of groups you need to be talking to. By cross-cutting, I just mean people who know everyone. There's always some person out there that everyone knows, probably everyone likes. Maybe they're a bit controversial, I don't know. But these are the kind of people that are very, very well connected, effectively. It may be because of their position in an organisation, that they are some kind of gatekeeper. Everyone has to go past them to get funding or permission or something like that. Or it may just be their personality, that they're just very gregarious and a natural networker, and for that reason they know everyone. The point is that they've got that kind of bird's eye view on your whole stakeholder network, and might well be able to spot parts of that network that you would have been blind to, but that they can say, well, actually these guys, they would be very interested for this reason that you might not know about. So I'm going to invite these guys now to a workshop, so 2 or 3 of them, maybe up to 5 maximum. We don't want lots and lots of people here, just to make this work. And the first thing that we're doing then in this workshop is to brainstorm a bunch of different people. Who are these people, and what is it that they're interested in? Why are they interested in engaging with us? What is it about this project that might get them going, whether negative or positively? And we're then trying to think about the level of influence that they might have, whether that's small, medium, large, but importantly, why? What are the reasons for that? Are there certain circumstances or times at which they are likely to be more or less influential, for example? And then you're going through the kind of matrix that I've given you to think about then the various different ways in which you might be able to engage with people, get people on side, connect with their motives, the sorts of modes of communication that you might want to use to get in touch with them, and the kind of conflicts or alliances that already exist, so that if there are 2 groups that have an ongoing conflict, you're not going in there and now putting those guys together and inflaming that conflict. So incredibly valuable stuff, and within half a day you can quite quickly get all this stuff out and into a matrix like this, so that you've got a much better idea now, quite systematically, of who might be interested in your work and who you might begin to prioritize for getting in touch with. Now, the last step that I would do in a workshop like this is to identify some key contacts. So where there are particularly important organisations or kind of groups of organisations and people, and who might be some of the kind of the first key people that you might try and establish a relationship with if you want to work with them in future. And what I'm doing now is I'm doing a bunch of follow-up interviews. It may be face-to-face. It's probably just going to be on the phone to say, we're doing this project. What do you think? What are your interests? Forming that initial relationship with them, understanding their priorities, making sure that you're not just about to propose something which they're going to have an allergic reaction to. And then getting them to have a look through the kinds of groups that you've identified, maybe leaving some of the controversial stuff in the matrix, but these are the kind of people we're thinking about talking to, and these are the kind of things we think people are interested in. What do you think? Would you actually group them differently? Would you suggest other people or types of people that we've forgotten about? And then if there are major groups you've forgotten about, maybe you identify a contact from them and you go and you interview them. And you're basically triangulating what you got in that initial focus group. And at the end, if there are a lot of changes, then you might take it back, just perhaps by email or phone with the original group members to say, well, we think we probably forgot this. What do you think? We might kind of group people in different ways. And at the end of that process, I'd going to say about 2 days of work from beginning to end, you've got yourself a list of all the people who might be interested in your work, and the kind of things that are going to interest them, the kind of things that are going to motivate them, the sorts of key messages that they're probably going to be interested in. And so you've got an idea of who might be the most influential, whether for good or for bad. And you can begin to then prioritise who you really start to engage with and who you start to put stuff out to. I think a danger here is that you say, well, I'm only going to talk to the people who are very influential and very, very interested. And I think it's important to make sure that you don't use a tool like this to marginalise the people who are already feeling disconnected and disempowered by other projects that have come in the past. And sometimes it's worth even thinking, are there particular disadvantaged, disempowered, marginalised groups that are always forgotten that we might have forgotten again, and to list those. But the point is, if you've done this properly, you'll have an idea of all of those groups, and you can then start to decide how you're going to engage with them, to get them on side, to get them involved in your work, and work together with them. I hope this is useful. Get in touch with me if you've got any questions about how this works in practice. And as you're getting out there on the ground with stakeholders, actually doing this, I'm going to be fascinated to see how it goes. Take some pictures. I'd love to see what it looks like as you're going out there talking to these people. Just stay in touch, because I'd love to be able to help you understand who's interested in your work so you can work more effectively with them. Thank you.